Welcome in, everyone. Thank you very much for joining me today. Hope you guys are doing well and peace be upon you all. So, as I'm sure a lot of you already heard, we had a huge blockbuster trade in the NFL 1 week before the regular season starts. So, the Dallas Cowboys traded Micah Parsons to the Green Bay Packers. So, in today's show, we're going to talk all about the trade. We're going to take a look at the details, take a look at the contract. We'll see what Jerry Jones said and why he made the trade. We're going to see how this impacts both of the teams this season and in the future. And I will also give my take on the trade, whether it's a good trade, if Green Bay Packers got the better end of the trade or the Dallas Cowboys. So, very exciting topic to talk about today. Before we do jump into it, I would like to mention that on my YouTube channel, I create content about money, sports, and personal topics with the goal of bringing value to other people's lives. So if you guys find value in this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel so that I can continue making these videos. All right, let's go ahead and talk about the trade. All right, guys. So yesterday on Thursday, August 28th, 2025, the Dallas Cowboys traded star pass rusher Micah Parsons to the Green Bay Packers. The blockbuster deal sent shockwaves through the NFL and was the culmination of a months-long contract dispute between Parsons and the Cowboys front office. So the specifics of the trade are that the Green Bay Packers received the All-Pro edge rusher Micah Parsons, and in return, the Dallas Cowboys received three-time Pro Bowl defensive tackle Kenny Clark and two future first-round draft picks in 2026 and 2027. So before Micah Parsons was traded, he's had a long stalemate with the owner, Jerry Jones, and they just couldn't come to an agreement. So upon being traded, Parsons signed a new 4-year, $188 million contract with the Packers, which includes $136 million guaranteed. And this deal made him the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL history. And that comes out to $47 million a year. So he's the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL. The other top non-quarterback deals before this one was TJ Watt. He signed for $41 million a year. Jamar Chase signed for $40.25 million a year. And Myles Garrett signed for $40 million a year. So Micah Parsons is officially the highest paid non-QB in NFL history. So the trade followed a lengthy and stressful contract standoff. Parsons, who was entering his final year of his rookie deal, had been seeking a new contract, but negotiations with Jerry Jones and the Cowboys stalled. And the central point of the contention was Dallas owner Jerry Jones's refusal to negotiate directly with Parsons' agent, David Mulugheta. And Jones claimed that he had a handshake agreement with Parsons in March, but Parsons wanted his agent to be involved, and Jerry didn't like that. So this power struggle led to a hold-in during training camp where Parsons attended mandatory events but did not participate in practice, and he formally requested a trade on August 1st. So, yeah, it's been a drama filled training camp and preseason for the Dallas Cowboys, but looks like they finally brought that to an end, and Parsons is no longer on the team. So, the rationale behind the trade, so what Jerry Jones said was that his main reason for the trade was to improve the team's run defense, an area where they ranked 29th in the league last season. And the acquisition of defensive tackle Kenny Clark is seen as a move to address that weakness. And also, this gives some financial flexibility to the Cowboys. It freed up $19 million in cap space, giving them more room to sign other players and possibly bring in new players to the team. Also, the two first round picks that they got, that provides the Cowboys with valuable resources to rebuild and acquire young talent in future drafts. And Jones has publicly compared this trade to the famous Herschel Walker deal, which helped build the Cowboys' 1990s dynasty. And for the Packers, they're adding an elite player. So the Packers general manager, Brian Gutekunst, made a clear move to go all in on a Super Bowl run by acquiring one of the most dominant defensive players in the league. And Parsons, he's a two-time first-team All-Pro and four-time Pro Bowler, and he's seen as a generational talent. So they're getting one of the best, if not the best, pass rushers in the NFL, and he has a very good chance of being the Defensive Player of the Year this season. So he's going to team up with another pass rusher that the Packers have, Rashawn Gary, and there should be a nightmare for opposing offenses. And the Packers, they're basically all in for a Super Bowl push. So they got Jordan Love. And they have a good defense. So the Packers are going all in for a Super Bowl run this season. So just some reactions and aftermath. The trade has been met with a mix of shock and strong opinions. Many analysts and fans believe the Packers won the trade decisively, acquiring a young elite player for what could be a late first-round draft pick if the Packers are successful. And conversely, the Cowboys' decision has been widely criticized, with many calling it one of the worst trades in franchise history, akin to losing a franchise quarterback. And that's pretty much all the details of the trade. Let's see if there's some just additional details that we can go over. All right, so the next thing I wanted to talk about is just how much money the Cowboys could have saved by signing Micah Parsons earlier and other stars that they signed as well. So basically, the Cowboys, specifically Jerry Jones, because he waits so long to sign his star players, he ends up paying a lot more for those players relative to what he could have been paying for them if he had signed them earlier. So, delaying contract extensions, a common strategy for Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys, has likely cost the team millions of dollars and potentially lost them players like Micah Parsons. So, for Micah Parsons, for example, the potential savings, if the Cowboys had signed Micah Parsons to an extension in the 2024 offseason, they likely could have secured him for approximately $36 million dollars or $37 million dollars per year. Because at that time, Nick Bosa was the highest paid non quarterback at $34 million dollars, and Justin Jefferson had signed a deal worth $35 million dollars per year. So basically, all of these players, their market value is just continuously going up. So because Jerry Jones didn't sign Micah last year, he's basically paying, or his value is $10 million dollars more per year. This year, 47 versus $37 million dollars per year. So just not very good management there. And it's costing them money and also players, and eventually wins and losses on the field. So the actual outcome for Micah Parsons, again, he was traded to the Green Bay Packers for 2 first-round picks and defensive tackle Kenny Clark, and he signed a $188 million deal, $47 million per year. So the estimated cost of the delay, so based on the $37 million per year estimated earlier, signing price compared to the $47 million per year Parson is now receiving, the delay likely cost the Cowboys around $10 million per year, or $40 million over the potential 4-year contract extension they could have offered him. Some reports suggest the potential savings could have been even higher. So and this is not the first time the Cowboys have done this. So previously, CeeDee Lamb. So CeeDee Lamb signed a 4-year, $136 million contract extension. That's $34 million per year in August of 2024. And if the Cowboys had signed him between January and March of 2024, they might have secured him for $30 million or $31 million per year, potentially saving $12 million over the 4-year deal. And also with Dak Prescott, the Cowboys' delays in signing Prescott also resulted in higher costs. If they had signed him in 2023, before numerous other quarterbacks reset the market, they might have secured him for around $52 to $53 million per year, compared to the higher amount he ultimately received. So, Jerry Jones, he's known as a businessman, but with these contracts, he's hurting his own pocket, and eventually, like Micah Parsons got traded. So not not good results. All right, guys. So next, what I wanted to talk about is just how much the Packers odds changed from the Micah Parsons trade. So Packers odds before the trade and Packers odds after the trade. So I thought this was very interesting. So their odds to win the Super Bowl were plus 2,000 before the trade, and after the trade, their odds increased significantly to plus 1,200. So just one player, Micah Parsons, caused this big move in their Super Bowl odds. So that's quite impressive to see. So to win the NFC, so before the trade, the Packers odds were plus 1,000. After the trade was plus 600. To win their division, the NFC North, before the trade, their odds were plus 250. After the trade, plus 165. And to make the playoffs, before the trade, their odds were minus 140. After the trade, minus 194. And their projected win total was 9.5 before the trade. And after the trade, it increased to 10.5. So these are quite significant moves, especially when it's just one player involved. So there are high hopes and expectations that one player, Micah Parsons, will significantly increase the Packers' chances this upcoming season. So I thought that was very interesting, and that one player would cause these significant changes, and we'll we'll see if that is the case this season. All right, guys. So next, we're gonna take a look and listen at the Jerry Jones press conference on the Micah Parsons trade, just to hear what he said and just give some reaction as well. So let's jump into that.
This is for Jerry and Stephen. Why do you decide to trade Micah Parsons?
Well, without being too broad, obviously, we did think it was in the best interest of our organization, not only the future, but right now, this season as well. Um, um, we've gained a Pro Bowl player. Uh, we've gained a Pro Bowl player in an area that we had big concerns in on the inside of our defense. Um, let me go beyond your question. First of all, I want to tell you that I really like Micah. Uh, I appreciate the 4 years that we've had him here, and he's he's a great player. And so we are very appreciative of the fact that he's a great player. There's no question that I could have signed him in April, and so we all know that to have agreements, all parties have to agree. But this was by design. Uh, I did uh, make Mike an offer. Uh, it wasn't acceptable, and I honor the fact that it wasn't done in the way that he wanted to do it through an agent. So he was made an offer. There's not an ounce of vindictiveness. There's no bad feelings on my part about the fact that we didn't come together on an agreement. Uh, the facts are, and we'll cover it, I'm sure, with many of your questions, but the facts are specifically we need to stop the run. And we haven't been able to stop the run at key times for several years. And when you have the kind of extraordinary pass rush that Michael had, then the way to mitigate that pass rush is to run at you. If the pass rush doesn't get you ahead pretty big time, and you're playing even or behind, then you've really got a problem in stopping the run.
All right. So just my reaction to Jerry's comments so far. So he he kind of tried to say that it wasn't any kind of like personal feelings or emotions or anything like that. But I mean, I think that's hard to say. Um, I think that Micah Parsons and Jerry Jones had a conversation earlier in the year, and Jerry Jones was under the impression that they had like a handshake deal, and Jerry Jones was not expecting and did not want to deal with Micah's agent, but later on, Micah Parsons decided to do that, exactly that, to get his agent involved and try to negotiate with Jerry, but Jerry wasn't into that. He thought they had a handshake deal in March, but Micah Parsons did not see things that way. He wanted to have an actual official negotiation between Jerry Jones and his agent, and Jerry Jones was not willing to go up to Micah Parsons and his agent's price. And I think Jerry was just, his pride got a little bit of him, and he decided to trade Micah Parsons. And then he mentioned that, like, the football reason for this was that they needed to stop the run. I mean, that is true. They definitely need some help there. But, and, trading Micah Parsons and getting Kenny Clark, who's an interior lineman, yeah, he's going to help you, stop the run. But you're going to do that at the expense of losing the best pass rusher in the NFL. And I don't think that's a good decision. You could have helped, gotten some help stopping the run while keeping Micah Parsons on the team as well. So, I mean, Jerry's saying the right things, but I don't think that's the full picture behind the scenes. All right, so the next thing I want to take a look at is the game that these two teams are gonna play against each other. So that's gonna be must see TV. So the Green Bay Packers will play the Dallas Cowboys on September 28th. Looks like that's Sunday night football. So this is going to be a must watch game. Looks like it's going to be in Arlington or Dallas, Texas. So it's going to be Micah Parsons and Jordan Love with the Green Bay Packers going into Dallas. And Micah's going to be facing his former team in Dallas. So that's going to be must see TV. Can't wait to watch this game. So I think the Green Bay Packers are going to be big favorites in this one, even though the Dallas is at home. We'll see what these two teams look like. So I know right now the Green Bay Packers are on paper look a lot better than the Dallas Cowboys, but you never know when you get on the field how it's going to play out, what it's going to look like, and things like that. So I cannot wait for this game. The NFL season just got even more interesting. So I'll be rooting for the Packers. I like them ever since Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. And I don't really have any kind of feelings towards the Cowboys, but I think the Packers are going to beat up on the Cowboys, and Micah Parsons is going to be chasing around and getting to Dak Prescott. So must see TV, September 28th, Sunday night football. Cannot wait. All right, guys. So the next thing I wanted to talk about is which trade in Dallas this year was worse, the Luka Doncic trade or the Micah Parsons trade. So the city of Dallas has had a very volatile year in sports. So earlier this year, the Dallas Mavericks traded Luka Doncic to the Los Angeles Lakers. That shook up the NBA world. And now, 6 months later, the Dallas Cowboys trade Micah Parsons to the Green Bay Packers. So, not sure how the Dallas fans are doing this year, but if I was a Dallas resident or a Dallas fan, I don't think I would be very happy with my teams this year, specifically their trades. So I think, I still think that the Luka Doncic trade is a lot worse for Dallas than the Micah Parsons trade, just because Luka Doncic, I think, is even a bigger superstar than Micah Parsons is. And, in the NBA, you got 5 players on the court. NFL, you have 11 on the field at one time. So just by the numbers, the Dallas Mavericks basically lost 20% of their lineup, while the Cowboys lost less than 10% in the Micah Parsons trade. So basically, what I'm trying to say is that losing a superstar in the NBA, I think it's a little more worse than losing a superstar in the NFL, just because there's a lot more players in the NFL. It's more of a, you know, team game with offense, defense, and special teams. So I think the Luka Doncic trade is still worse. But again, if I was a Dallas fan, I would not be having a good year. I would be very upset with my management of my NBA team, the Dallas Mavericks. I would be upset with the management of my football team, the Dallas Cowboys. Not sure exactly what they're thinking there. With Luka Doncic, he's just entering his prime, so he's going to be very good for the next 10 years. Same thing with Micah Parsons. He's going to be good for the next 5 years. He's just entering his prime. So I don't know, Dallas. I don't know what's going on down there. I don't know if you guys are smarter than everyone else, but I would not have made either of those trades. I would have kept Luka. I would have kept Micah. And I think both of the teams would have been better if they had just kept each of the superstars. So we'll see what happens in Dallas. We'll keep an eye on the Lakers and on the Cowboys. So that's my view on those two trades. All right, guys. So just to wrap it up, I just want to give my official take on the Micah Parsons trade. So I think this is a very, very good trade for the Green Bay Packers. I will give them a grade of A. So the Green Bay Packers, I think their offense, is very good. With Jordan Love, they have nice weapons out of the backfield and wide receivers. And now, as far as their defense, they got probably the best pass rusher in the NFL in Micah Parsons. So I think they're just going to be so dynamic on the defensive end. I think Micah Parsons' presence there is just going to make all the other units on the defense better. So the linebackers are going to be better because Micah Parsons is going to get a lot of pressure on the quarterback. The cornerbacks, their lives should be easier because they're not going to have to play coverage as long as before, because Micah Parsons should get to the quarterback a lot more often and a lot quicker. So I just think the whole defensive unit for the Green Bay Packers is going to benefit just by having an amazing pass rusher there. And I expect great things from the Green Bay defense. And I think they have a legit chance to make the Super Bowl. I think on the NFC side, it's going to be, Philadelphia Eagles or Green Bay Packers, maybe the Washington Commanders or Tampa Bay Bucks. But Green Bay Packers, as a result of this trade, are definitely a Super Bowl contender. They have a young quarterback, Jordan Love, in his mid-20s. They have Micah Parsons, young defensive player in his mid-20s. So I think the future for the Green Bay Packers looks amazing, and I think they are the winners from this trade, and I will give them a grade of A. For the Dallas Cowboys, I don't think it's a horrific trade. They did get a very, very good defensive player in return, and Kenny Clark, interior defensive tackle. So he's going to definitely be clogging up things up. He's going to be stopping the run. So he's a very, very good defensive player. I don't think his impact is as big as Micah Parsons' impact is, but he's still a very good player. He's 29 years old. He's got years left in the NFL, so that's good. And I think the 2 first-round draft picks that the Dallas Cowboys got, that's going to be kind of the determining factor in a few years, whether this trade was actually good or not for the Cowboys. So if they get some very good players in those draft picks, I think the Dallas Cowboys will be fine. So I would give the Dallas Cowboys like a grade of C. I think average. They got some nice assets in return, but I think the Green Bay Packers definitely got the better asset and the asset that they needed more. So that's pretty much all I wanted to cover as far as the Micah Parsons trade. If you guys found value in this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel so that I can continue making these videos. And I'll see you guys next time. Take care.